to talk.
On
Hey,
air.
everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 429 for September 22nd, 2021. My name is Russell Frost. I am the host of this exciting adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. Let me introduce this magnificent panel and move this show forward. That sounded... Okay. We're not going to think about that too much. My friend in Northern California, the only place on this grid where it might be hotter than I am right now, Georgia McKenzie.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have I don't think it's necessarily a packed show, but Lord knows we do like to talk. So we'll find a way to pack shit into this show. And I'm sorry for Russell. He's on some kind of a positivity kick. Maybe
way less drinking in the Russell drinking show tonight.
Yeah. What's he on? It's like this must be some very good weed.
Happy pills.
I don't do that before the show. So just for the record, there's that statement. Not during the show. No, not. It is an after show only. Let's go to our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Supercharger Kacey Green.
How's it going? So today is this Model X's 3-year Teslaversary.
Ooh, cool.
Yes.
And
does the car get a cake?
It got wet.
That's what I'm saying.
It rained today. I almost put some soap on it.
Teslaversary. All right.
I'm Mr. Positive. What can I say to that? He is the founder of the Waterloo Regional Electric Vehicle Association, or a founder, or maybe he's just part of it. I have no effing clue. I do know that he is the founder of the Tesla Life Show. His name is Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. And yes, I am the founder of Waterloo Region Electric Vehicle Association for Russell's future knowledge. But welcome to the show. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. So let's get to it.
And almost last, and maybe not least, no, definitely not least, he is our friend in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello. If we're doing Tesla anniversaries in 2 days, mine will be 5. So there we go.
Definitely getting a cake.
I should write a blog post about it or something, I guess. I should just get on that. I've got 2 days to get it done.
If only you had a website with the cool title of carswithcords.net. If only.
If only that I would be able to write about my car and the cord.
I think Patrick's been hitting the Tesla kilo. Just now making this
You can see the bottle right there. It's still full, mostly.
Mostly.
It only takes a little.
Yeah.
Well, and last and definitely not least, our friend on the Front Range. He is the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, Mr. Paul Guzek.
Hey, glad to be back. And look, you can kind of see a little sliver of daylight still.
Yep.
You're at the car lot.
Finally.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
And what are we drinking tonight, Paul?
Same stuff I've had the last couple of good juju.
Oh. I don't think I saw that one.
Oh. Yeah. It's a nice light summery beer with a hint of ginger. So
I thought I saw ginger on the label. I'll have to see if I can.
not ginger beer, but
Mhm.
with a hint
Well,
of ginger.
Ginger pale ale.
It is not Jamaican, so yes, it would not be good ginger beer, even if it was.
Paul drinks, now that I think about it, Paul drinks more different beer than maybe anyone else in the show ever has.
Probably.
Well, customers bring it to us. And as I've said before, if you want your car repaired well and you want it repaired at a fair price, bring your mechanic a case of beer every now and then, and you get much better service.
See, I just do baked goods.
Pro
but-
tips.
Baked goods too. Yeah. Cookies, we
I'll
get
bring-
cookies and brownies.
Ooh.
Luckily, they're straight cookies and brownies. No,
It's Colorado, so after hours.
That could be
the staff
trouble.
would eat them at lunchtime, and that wouldn't go over too well.
That wouldn't work over well. So yeah, I just make a pizza. Bring him a
I
pizza.
went to go change the transmission and the snakes came out and got me.
Oh, no, yeah. Car repair and opiated brownies don't go well together.
Yeah.
This is not a good idea.
Straight bacon,
Anything
as
that
he says.
requires a brain.
Yeah, let's move on to our first news story. For that, we're going to go to Georgia McKenzie, who's going to talk about something everybody wants, but nobody wants. They all want it near someone else's house.
I want it on my roof.
Well, actually, the thing is that we're not talking about those individual projects.
Yeah, I don't want that on my house.
But when it comes to renewable energy systems, Americans love the idea. We want it. We want to get away from carbon. But what we don't want is the big infrastructure that comes along with these projects that are designed to take us from individual techniques such as rooftop solar for your houses and things like wind turbines and solar farms. They don't want them close to their homes. And that means it's not that policymakers are having a problem getting that approved. They're having a problem getting the locations approved in a place that's convenient for development for cities and counties. So that was a study coming out of the University of Georgia from researcher Thomas Lawrence, and he worked with an international survey team to assess attitudes between the United States, Germany, and Ireland. So people in Germany and Ireland were like, "Hey, sure, make it close to where I live." Um, the idea they feel was that European countries are used to dealing with smaller spaces. They don't tend to be this 2,000 square foot home that's a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom or whatever it is. They're more used to compact living. Meanwhile, Americans, they love the idea, but do they want it a few blocks away from their home? Not so much. So the good news is that they're overwhelmingly opposed to things like coal-fired or natural gas power plants close to their residences. So on the plus side of things, if that's the choice, if it's between renewable energy and non-renewable energy, okay, locate the plant about a little bit larger than 5 kilometers or miles from the residence. But in a way, if we can't get over that kind of NIMBYism, you're not going to see much growth in renewable energy projects for cities. You're just going to have to accept that it's going to be a building there. There's going to be some type of structure. We can't do this without the structure, and if we don't locate them in areas that are easily accessible with roads, and I can tell you, since I was just on county roads today trying to find a homeless shelter. I was trying to do a mitzvah and drop off some items, and I drove all around not even half a mile away from town, just right on the outskirts. And it was so confusing and undeveloped that I couldn't find the building that I was supposed to get to. Now, imagine that, and you're trying to set up infrastructure for solar or wind farm, and you need to have people coming in to do repairs, and they can't find it because there's no actual street. It's on the map. It's just not a street. It's more of an idea of a road.
The concept of a road.
My favorite is when you combine that with the street sign that is in like state route numbers or whatever,
Right,
but like it has a name, but the name is not on the sign.
It's not on. There's no sign at all. It's a building.
Or that, yeah.
It was a dirt road, and I went back and I looked at the map and I was like, yeah, that's not a road. That's actually just a dirt road, but we're pretending for purposes of having a structure there that this is a road. I've been to our local county composting area, and although it is about 5 miles out of town, but you can get to it fairly easily as long as you understand the back roads. And I was just like, this is a long haul. It's hard to get to. It makes it really difficult to get trucks through here. It's in a rural area, so the roads get pitted and worn out pretty easily because it's not a high priority fix. So that makes the logistics a little hard. all of this translates into whether or not it makes sense for communities to go for these kinds of infrastructure projects. And it would be good if people understood that having stuff situated closer in a more convenient area with more access to facilities, a regular schedule of road repair, and just being able to locate a huge body of workers to do these projects in an area where they can also go out and get food. That's part of the local economics. Uh, Kind of have to get over that NIMBYism. So it was an interesting study to me to see that we can talk a pretty good game out here in the country of America, but pedal to the metal, we struggle with giving up conveniences that really are not as beneficial as they might seem. So I don't know. What do you
That's
guys think?
sad. If the biggest inconvenience in your life is that you see a wind turbine every now and then, you've got it pretty damn good. So stop your whining and let's just get this done, or we're all going to face a lot bigger hell than a minor inconvenience of what you think is not aesthetically beautiful. And I, on the other hand, think they're awesome. I smile every time I see a wind turbine.
They're
So
super cool looking.
yeah, idiots.
Yeah, Benjamin
Wow.
brought up a good point about
Hey,
the Power Lines video today. That was pretty
I
good.
mean, it was curious because I've been through way too many community planning commission meetings. I swear to God, it was about locating 5G on top of already existing telecommunications towers, where all it was adding an additional 3-foot block on top of them in tree canopies,
So it
and you
looked
could
like
barely
that from
see
the
them.
ground.
It was just like this, and it was just a little bit that would go on top to locate them. And I have sat there and watched that contentious meeting go for about 3 or 4 hours on the idea of just adding that for improved Wi-Fi in a semi-rural area. And it's a necessary infrastructure thing, but it is very hard to get people to commit. They want that, but they don't want the actual thing near them. And it's a really curious thing. And
Y'all got any more of them invisible towers?
At this point, I'm just kind of like, people just got to complain. They want their technology, but they do want to complain about it.
So one thing I saw that I liked was a couple abstracts on some studies that showed that if you co-locate your solar panels over some crops that prefer to be shaded, like strawberries or something to that effect, you get a better crop yield, and the lower temperature underneath the panel keeps the panel at a higher output level, and it's already on a farm, so you're not worried about too many of the NIMBYs, except for that one town in North Carolina that thinks you're consuming the sun, so it's not available to anybody else.
It is, Kacey.
So they say.
Cooling, oh my God.
One thing that's also been successful has been locating solar panels on things like parking in high schools and also public areas, because it gives you shade, which, especially in California, I could say this. I saw somebody from Arizona said it was 92. It is 95 over here. So a little shade comes in handy, and then you throw up some solar over it, and people are they don't mind the solar because they get something. So that's also something that I think that's a white screen.
Yeah, it is.
It's still a white screen.
92 when you pull it away.
Yeah. So, but it was that I think is a key factor, and it's great you brought that up, Kacey, because the other aspect of this is not just that people kind of have to give a little, but I think municipalities have to start really paying attention to what the responses are, even when they're negative, and adjusting how they develop these plans to give a little. So something like the whole more shaded parking, and that shade just happens to be photo bags for a solar farm. Hey, that works.
There's been a couple of new car dealers in Colorado built solar carports, basically. So here you get a few benefits. I mean, you keep the sun out of the car, so if someone wants to go test drive it, it's not 150 degrees inside. Keeps the snow out of the car in the winter, and it keeps the hail from damaging the brand new car during hail season. Now, it may damage the solar panels, but hopefully they can handle it better than a car because a lot of cars are very thin these days.
They do build them
And
to
then,
handle.
of course, the solar
like,
panels help power the dealership. So it's a triple win.
I think they said, was it baseball size is what most of them are built for?
Yeah,
Beyond
yeah.
that,
Cars are
you need
not.
insurance.
I
No, the
mean-
cars are nowhere near that.
We're not in the worst part of the country for hail, but we do get a couple hailstorms a year that take out thousands of cars. So
The PDR folks love it, but nobody
Yes.
else does.
I think the title for this is going to be "This is why we can't have nice things."
Yep.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's
All
all I
right.
got. Good story, Georgia. Yeah, people suck, and we've got to carry these people with us. And if we're going to make any,
except for the people who make pirates booty, right, Russell?
well, I'm not really that big a fan, to be honest with you. It was on sale, so I jumped on it. I mean, so I'm probably not going to stand Pirates Booty here on the show, especially since ain't nobody from Pirates Booty sending us any checks at all. And I've already
And
mentioned their
Pirate Booty,
brand.
if you want us to, promote your stuff, don't be afraid to send us some checks. And I like the cheddar proofs.
There
I mean,
you
I
go.
can't eat them right now,
But we will for the right amount of money.
but for the right amount of money.
Absolutely. We
this
can
does
definitely
remind
be.
me
I'm sorry.
of just the comparison that you made there, Paul, before we got off on that tangent was, we have this pandemic and people need to do things that are not just for themselves, but they're for the community. And that's very much what this NIMBYism is you have to think about more than just yourself.
That's insane, Patrick.
Is that
I know, it's so
allowed?
un-American. of
That's
me.
not the American way.
What kind
I had
of
to suffer, they should
communism
suffer.
is this?
Why should I make things better for everyone?
That's straight up socialism, okay? You have been in Washington too long, my friend, too long.
Liberal.
Let's move on and go to my friend Mark for This Week in Tesla.
This week in Tesla, going to touch on Tesla Fest. You may ask, what is Tesla Fest? Well, that is a festival that's happening at Giga Berlin, October the 9th. They opened pre-registration.
Right.
You, Paul, if you went, you'd have to wear a lederhosen. I'm sorry to say. But we've got a opening of the factory to the public. There's going to be tours. There's going to be Model Y rides. There's going to be people answering questions. There's going to be a bunch of Tesla activities. I'm sure snacks, maybe not Pirate Booty, but something like that. And that is going on in Germany to kind of warm the public up to a new Gigafactory opening up in their neighborhood. So we hope to see some video and information that comes out on October the 9th. And we'll be interested to see what type of activities and what the crowds look like when it is. Now, this was a pre-registered event. You have to register on the Tesla website, and then Tesla will send you a confirmation if you are one of the lucky ones to be accepted. So we shall see what happens on the 9th.
It could be exciting. Maybe they'll roll out their first customer vehicle and you'll win the bet, Mark. It could happen.
Oh, man.
It could
Wouldn't that
happen.
be something? Wouldn't that be something?
Are we
That
going
would be
to
great.
Tesla bot?
Finish to work.
What about Tesla bot guy? What is he?
We can hope. We can hope, Georgia.
And all the Elon Musk impersonators you can
Uh,
I
handle.
don't think his ego could take that.
I don't think
Oh,
there's
all
going to
the
be
more
many
reason.
Elon Musk imitators there. No, I don't think so. But
Although
you
I'm
never
sure,
know.
I'm sure somebody
You
will
never
bring
know.
a cardboard Elon for him to sign, which is always cringe.
That's always fun. Yeah, exactly. I keep this in the back of my car at all times in case I meet Elon Musk. I'd like him to sign this. Yes.
Elon Musk away from
Everybody
his
take
pillow.
a drink, and I didn't say a thing.
That's because you're positive today, Russell. You got to remain in the background. Yep.
But it is inside the Tesla life. Does that count?
Patrick's taking a picture.
Next, we're going to talk about the FSD button. 2 weeks. That's it. Full self-driving beta is been rumored to be rolling out now for about a year.
Just
Tesla
10 days
has-
from now.
Tesla has made modifications. They've had to take 2 steps back to take a step forward. It's been a number of changes that have happened. But at this point, as Kacey mentioned on the Tesla Life, we're this close for people to be given the FSD button that they can press it so that they can get FSD. But there now is a different stipulation. You have to be a good driver. And it's not that you get to say, oh, I'm a good driver. I'm always a good driver. No. Tesla, when you press that button, is going to use their insurance algorithm to look at your past driving, your future driving for 7 days after you press the button. That will be part of the requirement. When you press the button, it's going to let you know that Tesla's insurance algorithm is going to look at your driving for the next 7 days, and it's going to rate you. And if you're good enough in driving, it's going to let you have access to the FSD beta software.
Oh, okay.
You have to be really good at driving to not drive.
Wait.
Another interesting piece of this is that if you suddenly become a bad driver into using FSD beta, they're going to take it away from you too. So they are serious about, they don't want, some YouTuber that's looking for clicks because he wants to drive from the back seat again. They are definitely going to be watching who is using the software, when they're using it, and how they react to it before and after. So this is going to eliminate, hopefully, if not all, a huge percentage of the bad actors out there that want to get their hands on this just so they can make some stupid video of them driving from the back seat or the trunk.
But wouldn't bad drivers be the ones we really should not have drive?
That may be the case, Georgia, when this is really a full self-driving system. But when it's one that you still have to pay attention to, which is the only thing we have today, no, you don't want those type of people in the car ruining it for others.
Right. I thought of a new revenue stream for them. So for all these small town DMVs that can't really afford to keep enough testers on board, outsource the driving test to the daggum car because it already knows all the rules of the road. Profit.
Yep.
Well, in case this is government, so savings.
Savings. Yeah.
So yeah, you just drive around and then it sends in your score. And then if you do well enough, you get your license. Interesting.
If you're really bad, it pulls over and locks the doors.
And waits for the police to show up. Yeah.
Shocks you to death.
I approve of snitch Tesla self-driving.
It is interesting that this story came up this week, and Amazon's getting their butts kind of roasted about their new surveillance system and whether or not it works and whether or not it's really for safety or for cost cutting.
Yeah, but their surveillance system seems to be some kind of weird slave driver tactic.
Oh, the Amazon one? Absolutely. Well, this one, when you push it, it's going to say, hey, I consent to being monitored by Tesla. By an insurance company at that.
And it won't dock your pay if you take too long to go pee.
Right.
Allegedly.
Oh, can you imagine? Like, the bottle Tesla situation means they're going to be doing it while driving.
So if you would like to see other stories throughout the week, please feel free to follow us on the Tesla Life on YouTube or grab our Twitter handle and subscribe there at the Tesla Life. And with that, back to you, Russell.
Oh, so I you know what? I have one more thing though.
Oh,
so none of us are attorneys. There may be attorneys in the audience, and I put this out to my panelists and to everyone out there. So I find this interesting. If Tesla's actually vetting the drivers that they will approve or not approve for this FSD beta, is there a charge? So do they? If they approve, then they have to pay for the FSD beta, right?
They have to have already paid.
They have to have already paid.
Yeah. Or be a subscriber.
So they've already paid or they're a subscriber, and this is just getting them into the system that they
No. This is so you're not at issue of saying, I already paid for the service, I want to get it regardless. What people are getting opted into here is the FSD beta. Not the real software that's going to drive itself that people have paid for, the dream that people want. This is just the beta program. So they're not in any danger of saying, well, these people paid for it, they rightfully deserve it, whether they're good drivers or bad drivers. No, that's not the case here. This is just the beta program before we get to full self-driving.
It's a bit like 20 years ago when I beta tested.
Sorry, wait. Two things. Number one, if Tesla uses this to recognize FSD revenue, I'm going to call foul.
Mark actually suggested that on the other
show. we don't know if that's the case. First off,
we don't know if that. I absolutely. It is speculation.
But Russell, if they deploy the software to some of the people who have paid for it, why would that be? Why would you have any problem with them reflecting that in their financials?
Because it's a beta test. Do you charge people to test things?
Some companies do. So, like 20 years ago, I paid Microsoft to get into the Xbox Live beta.
I don't want to get too far on this road. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Let me. And the other thing is this: it's interesting to me. And again, I'm not an attorney. I know a couple of attorneys. I met an attorney. Generally, when you vet your group of people for whatever it is, if you take the time to approve them and look at them and examine them, that extends a certain legal liability to you because you've assumed that they are good. You even instituted things that says you will kick them out of the program. So anyway, if there's any malfeasance on this program by Tesla approved people, I would think that exposes Tesla to more legal potential.
But that's probably why they're running it through their insurance division rather than straight up.
So they can bankrupt that and then just want
and what about
no, because it's a little more strict.
What about if you pay for FSD and then they decline you to use it? You get a
no. Remember, Paul, FSD is not available yet. FSD is not a product yet, but they've sold it. So what you'd get is when they say this is the FSD product we're releasing, you can now have it because it at that point would be self-driving. And it doesn't matter how bad of a driver you are. If you flick it on, it'll be a better driver than you are.
Yeah, so Russell, to answer your question there. So today, Tesla has ADAS features, and they have lane keeping, they have traffic-aware cruise control. This adds to that suite, but it doesn't change the liability in any way. It is still a driver assist feature that still requires an attentive driver. They have all those same caveats when you accept this program to say, I will pay attention when I'm behind the wheel. It is my responsibility. So I don't think it adds any liability to them.
It would be very interesting to see.
Somebody will test it.
I don't have an opinion on the matter. I just have a question. And I would love anyone in the law field to respond to that in any way they care.
So to Paul's question, though, that brings up another good point. If you're so bad at it that they don't want to sell it to you, do you get a refund?
Yeah, right.
That's why the subscription's a nice thing. They can just say, we have not renewed your subscription. Next month, we will not.
Non-renewed.
Yes, yeah. Your contract has not been extended for the next 30 days.
Mark, I have to ask you a question. How could the Tesla Life have ignored the burning question of Roadster or Model S Plaid?
Oh, it's quite easy.
Cheers, my friend.
In what context?
Before we go on to the Kacey, in the context of Mr. Lambert's whine today about maybe they should give us a Model S Plaid instead of.
They promised him one thing and they're late. He needs to suck it up with his 2 free roasters.
You know what?
No sympathy.
You need to have a little sympathy for him. Okay, he has roasted for years, promoting Tesla. Whatever. I don't know. Hey, speaking of which, no better time than this. Friend of the show, Ed Niedermeyer, is part of the triumvirate that produce a show called the Autonocast, which you can find at autonocast.com. The show that dropped today, which I haven't even had a chance to listen to yet, is with NTSB chair Jennifer Homendy. I'm very, very interested to hear this show and hear what they have to say. And by the way, I'm a big fan of the Autonocast. Do check it out. They have been really just done a great job talking to important people, asking good questions about autonomy. If you want to learn more, do check out the Autonocast. And it's not often that I push other shows on this one because I'm kind of greedy. Is it greedy? Selfish? narcissist? I was waiting for. I figured Georgia would automatically chime in with, "No, you're just an asshole."
But positive today.
But positive. I'm a positive asshole today. Anyway, do check that out.
Weird.
Let's go to. I have to quickly click on the email and see. Oh, we're back to Kacey. No, we're not back to Kacey. Kacey's first story. I'm sorry, Kacey. My apologies. Kacey has a story about international implications.
Yeah, I've even prepared a slide.
Oh, and I it is now on the stream, my friend.
There we go.
Evanex wrote a story that they then submitted to Inside EVs to their partnership, and it was about the 25 plus, in this case, 28 countries that have and states that have done a combustion ban for automobiles in the coming years. And here's a small sampling. The logo is covering the 25 through 28. So underneath the rest of the list, you've got France at 2040, Spain at 2040, Egypt at 2040, and Costa Rica at 2050. And you notice that Norway is at the top of the list. You know, a very large oil-producing country. But they're also kind of, socialists, so they're actually looking out for the well-being of their people.
Well, the best dealers are not users, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they could just be smart.
They are smart. And so I wanted to bring it, out for discussion about, what everybody feels about the combustion bans, how they're going to go down. And I posit, except for Norway and South Korea and Belgium and Austria, that all of these actually are going to end up being earlier than they list, because you don't want to be the bag holder with the last combustion car in your country, and then, when you're done with it, you can't sell it to anybody because nobody wants it. I mean, other than like the Costa Rica 2050, they don't seem that unreasonable, but at the same time, Costa Rica is not that rich, so it might actually be reasonable for them, but others like the U.S.
Yeah, this is a cool update. So a couple months ago, Tony brought a story like this, and there was a list of maybe 12, and now we've got it over 25. So this is awesome. This is awesome to see. Because you know what I want? A future free from fossil fuels. And this is getting us there.
It is.
So I have to say that this would be somewhat aspirational. There's going to be a number of countries that, of course, have just thrown a number out there that they want to be this. There's no teeth behind it at this point, but this is a moving goal that's going to change for probably a lot of the countries and states in this listing, just based on what happens, based on how prevalent batteries are manufactured, how many are going to be available, how many vehicle companies are going to be producing more and more EVs. We know that these numbers are all starting to come together. All these different groups are starting to manufacture EVs, but we are also seeing that there's shortages of batteries for vehicles, that everyone is vying after it. So some of these early dates certainly may slip based on the amount of resources that are available to actually get battery electric vehicles out to the masses. So, it's good to put a mark on the board. As Patrick said, it's good to start heading in that direction. But I have a feeling that the numbers are going to vary wildly from what's been published here.
Yeah. Mark is absolutely correct, because like a lot of things that are out in the public, I tell people all the time, go download the Green New Deal, read it. It's not a straight policy document, which would really lay out what should be accomplished, when it should be accomplished, and how. That's what that's about. This is great with the idea that we're going to have a car ban. At least we're moving towards a goal, but even me saying that is applying a little too much Pollyanna naivete that we're actually moving towards the goal. I think this is important as a first initial step to kind of draw out, like, okay, here's what we want to do. But until we actually see something, a policy statement, a position, something with clarity that says, here's what we are doing and how we are about to do it, And this is when we're going to start taking our steps, or what we view as the first steps. Let's take it with a huge skeptical grain of salt, maybe a little too much salt for you to take internally.
Yeah, but this is what's going to take, because it's individual going electric and not eating steak and doing whatever doesn't make that huge of a dent in things. It's going to take the collective, and right now we've got the government doing two things. On one hand, they're subsidizing fossil fuels, and on the other hand, they're saying, hey, we need to all do our part to stop using fossil fuels.
Well, not to mention, there's also the issue of things like LEED standards, and having, I mean, right now we have a number that are actually hitting the platinum standards, which is great, but we can always do better. And are we making sure that we push not just to have new buildings, but what about retrofitting? Because that's often the difficult issue right there, and getting those retrofits to everybody, where it comes to domiciles, not just and a lot of times they're talking individual homes, but what about apartment complexes? So there's a lot of work to be done. But I agree, yes, it's a start, and we do need to start.
But I think there's going to be a point where it's just going to make so much sense to the consumer. The EVs will be super cool. They'll be charging. They'll be less expensive than gas cars. And it's kind of like, you look at smartphones when they first came out, 2007. The early adopters had them. We said, "Oh, I can't afford that." And 10 years later, pretty much everybody has a smartphone, and you can still buy a flip phone, but unless you're 80, no one buys them. And the consumer says, "Hey, I see value in this smartphone, and yeah, it costs a little bit more, but I can check my email, I can Google stuff, whatever." So once more of the general public experiences EVs and the cost comes more in line with gas cars, they say, well, why should I buy a gas car? Because EV is better. Stuff that we know as sort of the techie early adopter crowd will become common knowledge to everybody.
And I think that Patrick wrote an article on it saying that if we're not already at parity, we are so close to parity between combustion and EVs.
Right. Yeah. In certain categories, that it's already true, and that it's quickly moving down. So by 2025, 2027, for sure, it looks like even economy cars that it'll be cheaper to buy an electric from day one. Cheaper, and then cheaper to fuel and cheaper to maintain on top of that.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
And putting
jump in?
asses in the seats, the
Yeah.
guy goes in to buy a pickup truck and he says, "Hey, you want to drive the F-150 Lightning just for fun?" Holy shit, maybe I should consider this car. So
Absolutely. All good points. And it will be interesting to see how this plays out. One of the things about doing this show for 10 years is it's given us like a show kind of context. We've been talking about these things as they've developed, and the changes since 2010 are amazing. We always, we wanted to get here. We knew we worked towards getting to a point where stuff like this, whether it's EVs or hybrids, were more prevalent. And it's wonderful to see it happening and developing. And I don't know how important that list is, other than to say, at least these governments have made a statement. Now, whether it's performative or actual, well, time will tell. But that's also a warning shot, I think, that the subsidies that we dole out in buckets to fossil fuel industries could very well be tapering off. And it doesn't do a government a lot of good to destabilize a major industry, no matter how harmful they are.
A lot of jobs in it.
Which is the thorny problem. What do you do with that stuff? What do you do with those people? You've got to do something. You can't just ignore it. So,
yeah.
Thank you for that, Georgia. Or Kacey, I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask real quick on Mark. Canada's listed with 2 years. Is that like some provinces and then the whole country, or?
Yeah, I think it's a division between provinces.
Okay.
So there's a number of provinces that cover that span of time.
And then one more thing on that, like Russell said, in addition to propping up these industries, if we haven't replaced our transportation delivery system by the time that these come into effect, everything in the country is more expensive because the fuel has all of a sudden overnight gotten more expensive, and you're still using it.
And of course, all the externalities that aren't priced into fossil fuels, the health, the roads, all of that stuff. We still need a lot of that, or some of that, with electric vehicles, but we don't have the health hazards and whatnot. Hopefully,
Just the rubber from the tires, and however you generate your
There you go.
electricity.
yeah. Let's go to Georgia for the last story of the evening. A very fun, positive story, right, Georgia?
Sure. Positive.
Okay.
Positive story. Actually, it's really kind of cute. Hey, guess what, Cincinnati? You're on your way. You're growing a zero emissions transportation network right there in your home. Serval Electric, a residential, commercial, and industrial electrical company that has served the tri state area around Cincinnati for generations, they're helping the city electrify by getting their first 100% electric truck. They are installing, part of their business is installing EV charging stations, and they plan to transition their entire fleet of 25 to 30 vehicles to fully electric. So they're one of the first 13 companies that participated in the Run on Less electric real world demonstration of zero emissions delivery. And so they got this new truck, and it's from Workhorse, a Cincinnati based company that builds electric last mile delivery step vans. So they're fully electric, it's their first one. The trucks are going to age out, and so when they're going to replace each truck, they plan to get more of these new electric trucks. And the cool thing, now this is a step van, so the first driver is a guy named Stephen Garrett, and he wasn't sure what to expect. He's a very experienced driver. According to him, he drives about 80 to 100 miles a day. He wasn't quite sure about these newfangled electric trucks, and he said couldn't imagine what it was like, but there's no fumes, no stopping to get gas. He doesn't have to take any extra stops to fuel up a truck, so he's only spending about $15 a day on electricity to charge the truck, and it's normally $60 a day when they run on gas. So it's a 75% savings on fuel costs on day one. That's super not bad. And because it's electric, it can go lower to the ground, and it saves a lot on his knees. So that's pretty cool. The repetitive motion injuries and knee damage are huge for people who spend their entire day, every day, behind the wheel. So that's awesome. And on top of that, because it's a neighborhood, that means that their neighborhoods have one less truck spewing gas and fumes into the air. So benefit to the community. So I think that's super cool. Congratulations to Workhorse. Did not know you existed. Now I do. Really thankful for that. Serval, great move. And congratulations, Cincinnati.
I just want to say you did know they exist. They were your favorite Thor trucks. They renamed themselves.
Oh, stop renaming yourselves. You
Right.
can't keep track of this. I'm old. Leave me alone. Get off the lawn.
That's why we
They even
have
kept
this
the same
show.
grill.
Very nice. It's just nice to see more stuff deployed in the marketplace. Whether it'll
But
work or not,
that
it'll play
is
itself
not
out.
but that's not the last thing. We got something from
No?
Patrick.
That's
Oh,
okay.
I-
We can
I
do
don't
it.
wanna
I'll do
talk-
it in my shout outs.
No,
So one
no,
thing that this
I really don't want. No, stop, Patrick. Talk to me, buddy. I'm just kidding.
No, I want to keep talking about George's article. One thing
He's
that they
protecting
mentioned
Toyota. That's what he's doing.
in this article that I hadn't thought about before is it starts out every day with a full charge, and if that's enough to do your daily route, then you're never going and using work time to fuel the vehicle, and that's just one of the great benefits of an EV. Is it starts out every day with a full tank.
Or worse, if you work for somebody else, you're not having to go off the clock to refuel the truck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. or just extending your commute, or whatever. So another great benefit to going EV there.
That was a big
Maintenance.
change for people that own EVs, is realizing that, the range may not be as much as a full tank of fuel, but the benefit is that every morning I wake up, I do have full amount of range ready to go. And I typically will never burn that amount of range over the day. So every day it's like starting with the maximum amount of range that you have, and you'll never run out.
Yep. And these work vehicles rarely do interstate, like not like on the highway, but they rarely are leaving their service area. It takes a lot to, like a convention or something, to get them out of their service area like that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, Patrick.
Let's do some shout outs and go home, Russell.
Oh, you chicken. Why don't you want to talk about Fred's bullshit Toyota boycott story that Paul Scott wants to gin up?
Sure. I will absolutely talk about that. I thought you didn't want to do it. I was trying not to Fred Lambert on you, knowing how much you love that. Maybe we can get rid of Happy Russell if I keep trying.
I'm still happy and I still love Toyota, but boy, have they been eating poop lately.
Yes.
It's their own doing.
Costco-sized bags of poop and shoving it in their mouth. It's like the move to Texas has changed them. Wait a second. I just thought of something.
So Russell, just like you said earlier, that we've been doing this show for more than a decade, and that gives us this really long perspective. A lot of us came to this initially with a Prius. It was a milestone vehicle, and there was nothing like it. It was this new technology. It was really cool. Even the very first Gen 1, after it had warmed up, and if you kept it below 15 miles, it could cruise silently. And when you come to a light or a stop sign and the engine shuts off, it was smooth and quiet, and it was great. Unfortunately, they've become complacent, and they've dug their heels in with hybrid and fuel cells, and they have not moved to the next great eco vehicle of battery electrics. And in fact, they've tried multiple times to slow down the progress of EVs. We've seen them do things like self-charging hybrids, and which is just bogus PR crap. We've seen them have ads that are bashing plug-in vehicles, even when they had the plug-in Prius, and from Lexus and other Toyota sub-brands. So several people, we've vented about this multiple times on the show. Well, now, as you mentioned, Paul Scott has got fed up with it, and he is the founder of Plug in America and a friend of mine, and he has got a group that includes the Center for Biological Diversity, Colchera, the Electric Auto Association, which I'm a member, the Environmental Defense Fund, Environmental Working Group, Green Latinos, League of Conservation Voters, Modify Southwest Pennsylvania, Moms Clean Air Force, Philadelphia Solar Energy Association, Plug in America, Public Citizens, Sierra Club, Tri-State Transportation Campaign, and last, the Union of Concerned Scientists, all to sign on to this letter to tell Toyota that they need to stop hindering EVs. They need to stop lobbying to have fuel standards lowered. They need to stop trying to have our incentives for EVs reduced or eliminated. And he had where did he go? He went to one of the Toyota dealerships, and he's asking people to boycott Toyota because hitting them in the wallet is the only thing that's going to make them wake up. They have this pattern. They've been repeating it. And unless you do something to wake them up, they're not going to change. And that's what he is suggesting. And I think you should all know about it. And if you want to support it, go right ahead. There you go.
When I did that testimony to the EPA for the repealing of the clean air standards, man, Mom's Clean Air Force was like 90% of the testimonials there.
Cool. That's people getting involved and being active. Yeah. And that's exactly what we all want you to do. Get your opinion out there. Yeah. Have your voice be heard. Vote.
Yeah,
And
can't
Vote with
like
your
Paul
wallet.
Yes.
Like
Go with
Paul
your
said, dip 'em
wallet
in
and the
wallet.
ballot box.
Yes.
in all
Or
elections.
go to your local Toyota dealer, find the general manager, and say, "Hey, I was going to buy a car, but I'm buying XYZ instead of yours because you
Yeah, or
guys."
say, I'm here to buy an EV. What do you have? Oh, you
Right.
don't have any? I'm going to go somewhere else and buy an EV.
I'm going to go down the street to Tesla. and buy one.
I need a fully plug-in, no hydrogen, no combustion. Oh, you don't have it? Okay, bye.
Right.
Yeah.
And they'll try to talk you into something else because they're
They will.
salesmen. They're good at that. That's what they do. Don't fall for it. Stick to your guns. Let them know what you want. And if they don't have it, take a walk.
Yeah.
Show them what you got after the fact. Oh, hey, I got this BMW, this Tesla, this Chevy because you didn't have what I wanted. I'll be back when you're back.
Can't stress it enough. You are a very powerful factor in whether or not we have sustainability as a policy. A lot of people will tell you, oh, it doesn't matter. But that's actually complete and utter bullshit. Disappointment makes a lot of people a lot of money. And that's across the political spectrum. Anger and disappointment is a sales tactic. I can tell you that with over 20 years in marketing and communications, that if I can make you angry, I have tapped into something that will drive you to do something I want you to do.
Right.
It
A
is,
lot
it's
of your
easy.
rational brain disconnects and they can use that against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. Feel as angry as you want, but never lose sight of your goal. And if your goal is to influence policy and change things, there are two ways. At the ballot box, and that is at all levels of the ballot box. It's all super critical. And showing up to your local city council meetings and your local planning commission meetings, just go to their website. You can find out what's on the agenda, when their meetings are. Most of them are on Zoom these days. You can put in a written statement. Unlike me, you did not have to sit there for 7 to 8 or 12 hours of meetings. Yes, I have done that. But to be active, but also, yeah, tell a company, tell the people that are boots on the ground on the manager, yeah, I was thinking of you, but your company did X, Y, or Z, or they're not doing X, Y, or Z. And I'm going to go with your competitor because they're
Yep.
doing something I want. It is a
And then
powerful message.
when the regional manager comes through and asks how things are doing, he's going to say, man, do you know I had 8 people come through and show me their EVs and I didn't have anything to sell them?
Yeah.
And then they hear it again the next visit, and then it just keeps going. That's going to go up the chain.
You're a very powerful person. Everybody should understand that. You are very powerful. And don't think that your single action makes no difference, because each single action is a collective action. And we forget that.
Until Toyota sees a financial penalty, until they get hurt, they will not change.
They will
They're
not.
They are headed on the path they're headed, and they've been very clear. They've been very open about it. When confronted, they double down and go, "No, this is really the way we want. This is who we are." And again, if you're not listening to that, shame on you. And if you don't take action based on that, well, I understand. I mean, sometimes you have to deal with the devil, but most of the time you don't.
And Toyota is talking to your politician, your local
Oh,
state
yeah.
senator, everything.
Yep.
They got time.
They
And they're
do.
spending lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
Your money.
But if you say, hey, Senator, I live down the street from you, and then Toyota's coming at him from Japan, he might listen to you because he's going to have to look at you every morning.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Let's do some shout outs and go home. Thank you very much for that, Patrick, by the way. Nice story. Paul, can I start with you? Because it's dark there and I'm scared.
Yeah, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Boulder Hybrids, check us out, boulderhc.com or boulderh.com. Market's still tight on used cars. We got a couple new ones in. We got a little cute Fiat 500e. Someone in the Boulder, Denver area needs a little commuter. Not my favorite car from a serviceability point of view, but you can call me and discuss that if you want, but they are fun to drive.
You have said that before, so you've been consistent in your fun to drive, not as much fun to take care of. Kacey,
They're fun until they break.
With you? Nope. Yeah. Well, and really isn't everything. I'm fun until I break.
So last week I held up my camera and said, I've got all the footage, and then they gave me another update. Well, The other update had very little changes in it from my experimentation with it. And like I said, on Friday, I'm hopeful that the button arrives. So I plan to have some kind of video out by tomorrow night or Friday morning or whatever over at youtube.com/Kacey Green, because, well, by the time the button comes out, nobody's going to want to care and look to see anything about this version unless they're looking at history stuff.
There you go.
Mhm.
Get the news straight from Kacey, and Kacey's on it more than you are. I guarantee it. Almost Kacey's probably more. Yeah, he's on
He's
it.
tireless.
Patrick, how's it going? over there?
Hello. I just opened the chat, and shout out to everybody in the chat over there. Benjamin Need, you've got some great points. There's lots of cool talk going on over there. I also want to give a shout out. Today is World Car Free Day. And if you don't know what that is, well, we posted an article about it on our What Drives Us Twitter and Facebook page, or you could just Google it. So I will give my normal plugs. I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. That's the oeva.org. And I also blog at carswithcords.net over there.
Both great follows. Do check out Patrick's stuff at the links he suggests. Mark Coughlin.
I would like to ask you, if you're watching this still, please give us a thumbs up at this point in the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. That would be very helpful. Keeps us going out and getting in front of new eyeballs, and we would really appreciate it. And of course, you can follow What Drives Us on all the social medias. Just look up What Drives Us, and we're there. We're everywhere.
We are. It's kind of sad. But just don't waste your time on Instagram, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But all those things. Thank you very much for that. And do follow Mark at the Tesla Life on Twitter, and watch his show, which precedes us almost immediately every Wednesday. So search the Tesla Life show on YouTube. Look for the shiny red logo and follow them, for God's sakes. What else do I need to tell you? Nothing. So I'm going to go to my friend Georgia McKenzie for the final word.
Okay. Hey, happy birthday to Frodo and Bilbo Baggins. It is September 22nd, and that's their birthday. So all you token heads just like me, you know what to do. Eat some
In
freaking
Casey's car,
mushrooms.
apparently.
In my car.
Okay, let's ignore that, because that's the Tesla thing is not important. It is a Baggins day, and that's that. It's a token day, and that's all we talk about.
There's probably some token influence in there.
I am not even going to listen to you. No.
Oh, down.
Interfering with that. with
down.
token. All right. And shout out to Benjamin Need in the chat. And he does point out it is a public comment session regarding renewable energy standards with the Arizona Corporation Commission this week, which means you can go find that if you are in Arizona and get some public comment out there to say what you want. Again, you are a powerful person. And shout out to Hockey Day in the chat, because yes, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. And if you know where that's from and remember that scene, I officially approve of you, because that is
Aw.
very important to know. And if you don't know, sorry, you are
Yeah.
too young to be listening to this podcast. So
Just
once
take
again,
the
thank you for joining us. Don't forget to bounce on over to the Tesla Life, because Mark is pulling together all that good information. He understands something about stocks, blah, blah, blah. It turns into kind of a after a while for me, but I trust him implicitly. I just won't buy any.
Do not
And-
take stock advice from a podcast.
Never take stock advice. from a
What drives us
podcast.
at no point offers you any good stock tips.
No.
And
No,
don't forget,
do not.
also Kacey Green is out there working on all those updates and downloads, because the minute he finishes a video, wouldn't you know it, Tesla changes some shit and sends a new version to download. It's a lot like getting downloadable content and then getting the game guide, and next thing you freaking know, there they go. New DLC.
Yeah. We nerfed this weapon.
Oh, I hate nerfs. And thank you all for joining us. And Don't forget to take care of yourself. I know it seems like we're out of the pandemic. We're not. Stop doing things. Stop going out there and hanging around people, even when you're vaxxed. Take precautions. Why? Because 1/3 sane, 1/3 bored, 1/3 insane, and that's our country. And so protect yourselves and protect each other. It's a good thing. There you go. And there's our other third sane. Russell, back to you.
Thank you so much. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy a song or two because that's the right thing to do. As Mark and Georgia and everyone has been kind enough to mention, we are everywhere on social media at What Drives Us. Do look for us, maybe follow us, suggest it to your friends. The big important thing, of course, youtube.com/What Drives Us. That's where you can subscribe. Hit the notifications so that you know when we post new content like these new shows, like our standalone reviews. Every once in a while, I go off on a rant, and my apologies, but at least some of you get to drink heavily while I'm ranting. So cheers to all of you for that. I'm glad there is some small service I can provide this late in my life. I want to thank Georgia McKenzie, Kacey Green, Paul Guzik, Patrick Connor, and Mark Coughlin for doing a great show this week. And thanks, of course, to all of you. You're the reason we do the show. Tune in next week and find out what drives us.
Hi, everybody. Stay positive. Test negative.